On May 30th, the Helldivers had won their greatest battle so far, the battle for Super Earth. We had successfully defended 2 out of the 7 megacities and destroyed the Illuminate fleet, forcing them off of our planet. However, what if things didn't end up like this? What if we failed to defend our great capital? And if that did happen, what would be the reason for it? In this video, I'll be answering both of those questions using leaks to see what would have happened if we failed. Starting off though, I'm going to try and guess the reason why we would have failed had we failed. And I'll try to make it interesting and not just say, well, if we hadn't had enough people on Super Earth then we would have failed. No, instead we'll be looking at how things happened in the version of the battle that did play out and try to guess what would have made a big enough difference in order for us to lose the battle. If you need a refresher on what happened, you can check my previous video, but in short, we won the first major order while only losing a city. During the second one, we lost 2 megacities and had to activate the first defense protocol, and we also failed the MO because we had to split in order to build our DSS. Midway through the last major order, we lost 2 more megacities, but we were able to rebuild the DSS in time in order to save the last 2 remaining cities. After setting a virus that would automatically delete the System 32 folder of the Illuminate, we were successful in kicking them off our planet. So what would be the reason for us to lose this magnificent battle? Well, let's take a look at the last major order. It was by far the easiest. We were rarely under threat of losing a city towards the end of the major order. However, the start of the major order was by far the lowest point in the battle. We had lost 2 megacities at the same time. Equality on sea was losing and we had 7 negative effects on the planet. What reverted this? The sky. Because we still can't see it when we will look up. The DSS was rebuilt the same day all of this happened, reverting almost all of the negative effects and also decreasing the percentage on equality on sea and allowing us to push the Illuminate to a small part of the city. So what would have happened if we had failed to rebuild our space station? The going was dark, equality on sea was bound to fall, and our secondary major order to rebuild the DSS had failed, and Helldiver operations were failing, as our logistics and our infrastructure had crumbled. The Illuminate's endless aggression was illiberal, and they had now taken equality on sea, which also obliterated SIF numbers, halving the liberation percentages per mission. The final super defense protocol, Square, was activated, doubling the pay of sentry engineers, which decreased sentry cooldowns by 60 seconds. Even with this though, things weren't looking good, as the Illuminate had now attacked our capital, and were taking 10% of the city per hour. With decreased liberation rates, there was very little hope. All we could do was defend, which we did to the last man. Citizens of this great federation, I'm come to you this evening with devastating, heartbreaking news. Our home, Super Earth, has fallen to the Illuminate invaders. Contact has been lost with all military forces remaining on the planet. The President and Democratic Council are safe. They have been evacuated to a top secret location along with Super Earth High Command, and the President has revealed a statement. This is a day of unimaginable tragedy, but managed democracy is far greater than a single planet. So long as our citizens remain loyal to our way of life, Super Earth lives on. The Helldivers continue to fight, now shifting focuses to establishing a temporary home and headquarters for our great federation. This has been Coretta Kelly. May freedom watch over us all. With Super Earth fallen, the story would go in a temporarily different direction. In the current timeline, we just defended an automaton attack and then find the Illuminate again. However, in the lost timeline, we try to rebuild on another planet. This is even reflected in a line that accidentally got into the game, when a terminate megacities were added.
No Super Earth, a perfect name.
We would try to find a temporary home base, so that we could launch an offensive on Super Earth to take it back. We don't know which planet we'd be able to take in order to have this temporary home base, but based on the leaked newsreel we can have some theories on what those planets would have been. The planets that are in this video are Volgard, Selt, Morades, East Iridium Trading Bay, Calypso, Miriam, and Mog. These aren't perfect translations, and Moredes is also destroyed, but it would give us a decent idea on the planets that could have been chosen to be New Super Earth. Now there are two things that I can see happening. A. We want to make one of these planets New Super Earth, so the Helldivers are sent to protect the planet for a couple of days, and then if that planet is defended, it becomes New Super Earth. This makes sense and fits with the current major order system. However, there is something else that could have happened, and that's option B. Do you remember after the invasion of Super Earth, we had like a 5-day break with no major order, the single largest break we've had between major orders? What if that was when Super Earth High Command was trying to find a new Super Earth, and it didn't directly involve us? This is heavily supported by the fact that there is also a news broadcast that never released in the original timeline. It just says that High Command has been relocated to New Super Earth and Super Earth refugees are on their way to the planet. However, here's the interesting part. It says that New Super Earth's location is under lock and key, and is sent through a private channels. It doesn't just not say the location. It says that nobody knows the location. It's possibly because the location doesn't exist to us, the players. Personally, I think that this is very likely because it also fits very well into the timeline of the current major orders. Let's try to break down the timeline after the defense of Super Earth fails. So Super Earth falls and we have like 5 days with no major order. Then we have the Automaton Major Order, just like in the original timeline. However, instead of celebrating, it's mourning over the loss of our beautiful planet. This major order would also state that High Command is looking for a temporary base of operations, and is sending that message from a secret location. Not quite the temporary New Super Earth though. The major order is one, High Command is having good progress on finding the right planet to make a new Super Earth. And then we have the Illuminate MO to take out the Rally Locus. That fails because it's a really hard major order. 4 days to liberate 4 planets with high percentages is damn near impossible. And then it's patch day, which adds patch 1.003.101, which adds the Terminid megacities. This new patch wouldn't just add the megacities though. It would also add a lot of lines referring to New Super Earth and the broadcast that I mentioned earlier. Because in the days patch, for either the failure of the Illuminate MO or the start of the Terminid MO, High Command would mention that they found their new Super Earth. There they would be temporarily gathered to relaunch the offensive on Super Earth after the Terminid MO was done. The Terminid MO takes a week, making it patch day again by the time the next MO ends. And the patch 1.003.103, the patch which added the Illuminate controlled megacities, gets added. However, instead of experiencing these cities in Alert 3 and Alamax 7, we experience them on a far more important planet. That's right, Super Earth. There are lines in the files which reference the reclamation of Super Earth, and it is obviously the thing that we do once we set up New Super Earth. I have absolutely no idea how the reclamation would play out, since planet liberation, especially on planets with cities, is mostly community driven. However, what I can guess is how long it would take. And that is 9 days. The reason is because both the MO with the Illuminate cities and the MO with the war reputations took the total time of around 9 days together. So that's how long I anticipate the reclamation of our home would take. After the victory on our home, we'd get one final news broadcast to celebrate our victory. It goes as follows. Citizens of Super Earth, I come to you today with joyous, wondrous news. Super Earth, our home, is free once more. Following days of fierce fighting, the brave, heroic Helldivers drove off the Illuminate invaders, repelling them to the depths of the Milky Way. The president of Super Earth has released a statement. We always knew this day would come. The light of managed democracy may be dimmed for a while, but it can never go out, so long as our patriotism and fealty remain absolute. Displaced Class A refugees return to homes destroyed, skyscrapers twisted into Illuminate abominations. Emergency funds have been diverted to ensure restoration efforts can proceed without delay, and following a referendum to ensure the future safety of Super Earth, those suspected of dissident thought will now be automatically sent to the front lines. I am Coretta Kelly, and may freedom watch over us, and may freedom watch over the Federation of Super Earth. This does leave a few things unaccounted for, like the destroyed DSS, which was the reason we lost the original battle for Super Earth. However, I think this current timeline that I've made is a nice parallel to the original timeline, and would probably be what happened had we failed to defend our home. That's it for this video. For the next one, I'll give a lore breakdown and the history of the Jet Brigade, since with the recent resurgence, this has been the 6th time they have attacked, and with them primarily being a threat to the Galactic War, it would be interesting to see how much they've affected the war, as well as why they were created, how they were created, and how to fight them efficiently for maximum liberation. And as always, final thing before you leave, drink water, eat an apple, talk to your family, subscribe, so I can see you in the next one.